Hey everybody, all right, welcome to Summer Shreds. So we're gonna talk just a second about protein. This is arguably one of the most important components when we're talking about macros. So for those of you that have tracked before, you've been through our Summer Shred, what I usually hear is a lot of it is like, oh, I need to get back eating enough protein. For those of you that haven't done this before, what you will probably find as you start tracking this first week during our prep week is that you aren't eating enough protein. Okay, so that's pretty normal, but really important that we can get those numbers up to help you achieve the goals that you want. So here's a few little basics as you go about tracking this week to kind of figure out where you're at. All right, so typically recommendation is somewhere between 0.75 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So that's gonna vary a little bit. Females usually we would take down a little bit. So for me, for instance, I usually hover weight-wise between like 135 and 140. And that would put me, I usually try to keep my protein at least over 125 grams a day. When I'm thinking about it and I'm tracking, it's pretty easy for me to do. If I'm not tracking and I'm not in the mindset, it's really easy for me to miss that by about 30 to 40 grams, which is a lot, especially when we're talking about intense workouts, lifting weights, trying to build muscle. If you do not have adequate protein in your diet, you're not going to get the results you want building muscle and feeling good in the gym. Okay, so what we're going to do this week is you're going to start tracking on one of your get a free app. You don't need to pay for anything. We're going to keep this really simple. In the email I said I like macros first. I have used MyFitnessPal a lot. They've upgraded where a lot of the cool features are now paid features, and I don't want to pay for that. So Macros First offers a lot of the same ones for free, and there's others as well. So you can feel use what you're comfortable with, not what I tell you necessarily. So if you've got one that you like, by all means use it. I want you to go in and start tracking this week. Now, if the whole day feels really overwhelming to start tracking everything you eat, start Monday by choosing one meal. I want you to track breakfast in its entirety, every single thing you consume, okay? So when we're talking about tracking, you're gonna have options for the food you're eating. A lot of these apps will let you scan labels and it'll put it in, and all you have to do is pick your portion size, which is why it's important that we're measuring either with a food scale, measuring cups, things like that. Okay, we want to be as accurate as possible so we know where we are. I want to reiterate that a lot. This week, we're trying to figure out where we're at. I don't want you to go make a whole bunch of changes yet. I know we're excited, but we're going to get our scans first. From the scan, I'm going to have a read on what your daily calorie expenditure is just by being alive, right? We're not taking into account all of your activity. A lot of that's going to range somewhere probably between like 1,100 to 1,300 calories. More probably if you're a male, more if you have a good muscle mass. So we've got that metabolic rate up a little bit. From there, we're going to talk about it. We're going to think about our goals, and we are typically going to stay in a range of 30% fat, 30% protein, 40% carbs. Okay, so when we're talking about your calories that you're going to consume, that's how it's going to break down. Each macronutrient has a different calorie value. I am going to put this together for you. You do not have to think about it. So when it comes to you starting to track based off of your goals, we want the numbers to match up well, as close as we can. When we're talking about matching, we're gonna say like within 5 grams plus or minus on both things. So if your protein goal ends up being 120 grams of protein, I want you to be somewhere between 115 and 125. That's what we're gonna shoot for. All right, same thing with your carbs. If your carb intake is around 180, we're gonna shoot between 175 and 185. That's gonna be a really easy one to get away from, all right? And same thing with fat. So those are gonna be your goals. So we're not like having to be, don't worry about being off a few grams. We're trying to stay as close to that range as we can because that's gonna control our calories, all right? I don't want to go too deep into this. We're going to do a few things. I'll do a few more videos this week because this is something we can just start talking about forever and ever. But let's get our apps downloaded on our phones. Let's start playing with tracking what we eat. Yes, that means if you get a handful of something from the pantry, I want you to measure it and I want you to track it. You need to be honest with yourself, all right? Those little extras that we don't think about add up big. Okay. I'm trying to think what else you need to know on Sunday. I'm going to put this in our Facebook group. Obviously, if you're seeing this, you're in the Facebook group. Make sure that you have access to SugarWOD. Each day, I'm going to have a little blurb about something educationally, probably. And then you're going to have some extra daily work as far as the fitness side goes, right? That's the fun stuff. The hard stuff, the really hard stuff is going to be nutrition. So again, this week, we are easing in. Give yourself grace. Start trying to make it something you think about. I'm going to track my food. I'm going to track my food. Again, nutrition is with us 24 hours a day. All right, fitness is easy. It's 30 minutes to an hour. This is all day. So it's going to take a lot more thought. But I believe in you, and I'm excited, and I'm so glad you're here. Comment if you have any questions, concerns, feelings, and we're going to have a really good 7 weeks.